26 House Democrats are either retiring or seeking another office this year, with U.S. Congressman Ed Perlmutter announcing he will not run for re-election to his Colorado seat. Now, these departures stand to play a major role in this year's midterm elections. Republicans, of course, are making sure that they are keeping their ear to the ground. Of course, there are a lot of things to talk about between the president's low approval ratings and the desire to take control of both chambers of Congress. Julia Manchester from The Hill is joining me now to explain what's driving this mass exodus of Democratic lawmakers. Julia, good morning.
Good morning, Adrienne. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. You know, we have 18 Democratic House members retiring this year, 8 more seeking another office. What's believed to be the cause?
Well, I think there's two things, Adrienne. Number one, there's a historical trend of when a sitting president has his first midterm year, you see the opposing party get more seats in Congress. So Democrats have that working against them. Also, we've seen that President Biden has low approval ratings, and we know that being in the minority is not great for members of Congress. So I think you see a lot of members of Congress who are facing a lot of, historical uphill wins saying, look, maybe it's not my time. Maybe I can seek other opportunities. In addition to that, you have redistricting happening across the country. And we know that in the majority of state legislatures, actually, we see that Republicans are in control, and that in many ways can impact redistricting. So you see a lot of these districts being redrawn that aren't always favorable towards Democrats. So those are the two main reasons that you're seeing these retirements. Now, Democrats will say, look, we've seen Republicans retire, but it's simply more Democrats retiring, 26 Democrats retiring, and 13 Republicans retiring ahead of this cycle in the House.
Yeah, I mean, those are some big numbers. Build Back Better still hanging in the balance, voting rights legislation already mounting challenges. Is part of the problem that Democrats are frustrated themselves? Are they concerned about stalled legislation, or do they just see the historic writing on the wall that the party will likely flip for the House?
I think they really go hand in hand. I think Democrats were very motivated to pass infrastructure as well as Build Back Better in order to essentially overcome those historical trends, or to maybe sort of soften the impact of that historical trend. The problem is, though, we have infrastructure that passed along bipartisan lines, but you have Build Back Better that has once again stalled because of one Democrat, Senator Joe Manchin. So Democrats very much still trying to pass more of Joe Biden's agenda through in time for the midterms, because we know that infrastructure, the American Rescue Plan, those first two major accomplishments of the Biden White House and House Democrats and Senate Democrats, those happened in 2021. We're seeing a lot of voters going to be focusing on what happens in 2022.
Really quickly, we're out of time, but I know that American Idol's Clay Aiken, he was one of the original cast of the show. He is announcing that he's running once again for office, one of those empty Democratic seats in the North Carolina race. He ran in 2014 and was a runner-up there. What are his chances this time?
Well, we'll have to see. It is a crowded primary. There are 6 people running in this race. We know that Clay Aiken has run for Congress before. He has good name recognition given who he is, his standing in the LGBTQI community. He definitely has a lot of support from that community and the political forces in that community. But it's a crowded primary, so it's unclear, how he'll break away. I think you'll definitely see a potentially very eventful primary coming up in that district.
All right, Julia, always good to see you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Adrienne.
Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.